we need to talk about the state of Overwatch communication when it comes from the developers to the actual player base. All right, guys, welcome to the channel. So we're going to go over everything in this video. Like, we were promised a ton of updates on Overwatch 2. In fact, we were almost promised monthly updates on content, and it hasn't really happened. Of course, since those promises were made, two absolutely massive things have happened. The first one, Jeff leaves Overwatch. Nobody expected it, and the game director is gone. The second one, we have the massive lawsuit, or multiple lawsuits that are hitting Activision Blizzard King, specifically Blizzard, who have got a ton of problems, which resulted in the president of Blizzard leaving, the head of HR leaving, and a bunch of other people being fired, and other people who should be fired who haven't been fired, and all of this ridiculous stuff. The whole company is in absolute turmoil. So there is an excuse here, a very good excuse for why they've pulled back on communication. Now, before we get stuck into this and why this is a problem and why it really needs to change and why I'm disappointed and we should all be disappointed about this, we need to talk about this first. So this is from Tracy Kennedy. She is, if you read to the side here, a producer on Overwatch. And she says this: I want to thank the Overwatch Dev Team's leadership for making me feel so safe. They vowed to quit if we are retaliated against. And that kind of selflessness and bravery is real leadership. The world could always use more heroes like them. This is beautiful. Do you know what? This is absolutely mega beautiful to me. Because every time I've gone to Blizzard, I have never experienced a place which has been outlined in all of the stuff which has come out in, you know, all the lawsuit stuff and everybody coming forward with their stories. It never felt like that to me. Now, I have said this in previous videos. Yeah, I understand I'm a YouTuber, an influencer, a creator, or whatever going to Blizzard. They're not exactly just going to show me everything going on with Blizzard. But I only ever went into where Team 4 worked, into the Overwatch building, and it always felt really great. Everybody there seemed like great guys. You know, I spoke to Aaron Keller, Scott Mercer, Jeff Goodman, everybody, like Jeff when he was there. You know, literally everybody, right? They were all great. They sounded awesome to me. So it was shocking news to me when all this stuff started coming out. I was sitting there, honestly looking, not waiting, but like really hoping that their names didn't pop up, because then I'd be like, oh my God, I thought these were decent people, and what the hell's going on? But no, turns out they are decent people, and it turns out why we've not seen any bad news about the Overwatch team specifically is because of this, which I think is awesome. So yeah, this is you know, hats off to the leaders of the Overwatch Dev Team, because they're protecting their workers there, because a lot of the workers have said stuff which could have resulted in termination, but it won't, because the bosses are actually threatening to say they'll leave as well, which would completely annihilate Overwatch. And, you know, Activision Blizzard likes money, so they're not going to go get rid of Overwatch 2, are they? Because they want the launch of it. Anyway, the next thing we've got is this. So this is absolutely stupid. So, oh my God. So, hey, I'm seeing recruiters approaching Activision Blizzard King workers who are pushing for change, telling them to stop being so loud. Apparently, it's making it hard for them to find candidates. It is never okay to tell people to stop advocating for a better workplace. And the reason why this is making me laugh is I just can't comprehend this at all. Because if these guys seen what's been going on YouTube, on Twitch, on like every single major gaming publication, even on traditional news websites that don't really talk about gaming that often, they're covering this, what's going on at Blizzard, and they send this email. You know, we're literally talking tens of millions of views on all of this stuff. And then this is what they send out to Jessica Gonzalez, who works for Activision Blizzard. They say, hey, Jessica, I'm on the front line as a recruiter. Some of the articles that you're sharing freak out candidates, and a little bobby out tongue face. Can you please share what we are doing as a company to eliminate such toxic behavior? Activision Blizzard King has made many strides to head this off. Your updates don't seem to address this. Well, you're a friggin' idiot, you stupid recruiter. What in the world? Right, okay. So, let's get stuck into the video. Now I've got that rant out of the way. I want to show you guys this first. It's right at the bottom of an interview Jeff did with IGN. Now, this was after Blizzcon 2021. So, Jeff comes out, does a big interview. Well, this interview, these things, you know, I'll be honest, these things always piss me off, right, with Blizzard specifically, because they've put a live stream together, which was essentially this, and we got to watch this, and I guess I can just sort of play this in the background. Is it playing? Yeah, Winston's moving. And after it, Blizzard then give a massive interview to either IGN or, you know, GameSpot or somebody like that, and then we have to go and sift through to find out bits of information. I guess you could argue that we were always going to sift through and try and find that information out. But I'd like it if they're a little bit more in tune with the actual creators who make fucking loads of content on this game. You know what I mean? Maybe just say, hey, guys, do you want to... we've got this, you know, opportunity to speak to a dev, or we're going to show you this, we're going to show you that. It would be nice if you did that, Blizz, because every other company does that. Like, you guys won't be aware of this, but I'll tell you right now, Riot, EA, all these companies do that. Blizzard don't. They don't. They reach out to influencers and creators and they say, hey, you want to do this? You want to take part in this event? You want to do this? You want to do that? Blizzard don't do anything like that. It's frustrating. Anyway, it's obviously a manpower issue, personnel issue. They just don't have enough people in the roles that they need to do the work. Anyway, let's pause this because we're just going to jump back here. And we're going to take a look at this. So this is obviously the big interview after the BlizzCon online stuff, which went out in February. So if we go right to the bottom of this article, this is kind of what I want to speak about. Now, remember, these things might have changed because Jeff is no longer at the company. There's a new boss, right? So surely the way they work is going to be slightly different. So IGN say, obviously, the timeline is off the table at the moment, but is there a sense of when people might hear more about Overwatch 2 after this? And Jeff said at the time, yeah, our plan is very different now. When we announced Overwatch 2, we were very explicit with the audience. I don't know if everybody remembered this, but we literally said we're going dark, and we said we're going to talk about this at the next BlizzCon. I think part of what happened was the pandemic situation, the fact that there wasn't a BlizzCon in November 2020, and things got kind of pushed off until February, but we were very explicit, like, hey, we're not talking after this BlizzCon, we just need to focus on the game. Now, we've since heard rumors and murmurings that this isn't the way forward now. You know, this is changing. Jeff says they're going to change it. And I believe this is still the case right now. They are still looking to change this and they still want to put out more stuff. And by the way, I will show you an example of a company which is doing really well and a company that Blizzard did work close with in terms of community engagement. In fact, one of the community managers that works on this game, Destiny 2, used to be a Overwatch community manager. So, yeah. Anyway, our strategy for after BlizzCon Online in February is to be more communicative. I don't know if I can officially commit to monthly updates on Overwatch 2, but we definitely want to be more communicative. And our plan is not to go dark for an extended period of time. In fact, we were discussing as recently as yesterday the opportunity of there maybe being some cool stuff we could talk about in March or April to keep people updated and to keep people going. It's so very front and center in our minds to communicate more. Now, of course, we know what that was. That actually translated into this, which I was on. Hello. This is the Overwatch 2 PvP stream. And this was from May. This should have been in April, but Jeff left. So you see what I'm trying to say? There are timelines that were here that were maybe going to be hit. And because of things which happened, like Jeff leaving in the harassment case, everything's been sort of knocked around. So this, which should have gone out, if we go back to Jeff's comment here, March or April, actually got pushed back to May. So March, April, May, it's an extra month later because Jeff left, obviously, in April, Jeff left. So they went into sort of, I presume, like an emergency mode of like, oh my God, what are we going to do? We need to sort all of this stuff out. And then they kind of, did what they did. Anyway, I'll just finish reading this off. So Jeff says, we also want to be careful. I think there's a right time to get the audience hyped and to build to launch. And there's also a time where it's like, hey, that was kind of not cool of you because it was too early and we're not ready to have this yet. So I think we want to be very transparent with people. I'm really glad that the discussion happened of, hey, don't expect Overwatch 2 or Diablo 4 this year because that helps set people's expectations. So if we do say something in March or April, they're not like, oh my God, that means we're in beta by May and then release in June. It's like, no, it's out there that that's not happening. So let's get our expectations aligned. We definitely want to be more communicative and more transparent with the development of Overwatch 2 as we get to closing out of the game. Okay. So we do know, obviously, that there is no launch of the game this year. That came out pretty early, and that was that. This, though, what we've got playing in the background was the first thing Blizzard put together to actually inform us of Overwatch 2's development. After, you've got to remember, this was after Overwatch 2 was announced, basically, in 2019. We didn't really get any updates until this, which was like the very first sort of like meaty update look at the game, like some things which have changed and stuff like that. Now, there are pros and cons to this because this is the typical Blizzard, like, I feel like Blizzard have got this massive issue with the way it does stuff, and it really wants to go like, oh, you know what? We're going to put together this incredibly polished like showcase, and it's just going to be a ton of info. We're just going to drop it down, and that's it. But is that really enough? And is that the best way of doing it in this day and age? There's so many opportunities where they could be constantly engaging with their community. The issue I've got with them at the moment is they're not really engaging with anyone. They're not really out there. I mean, even if you look at, like, if I jump across to the Overwatch Twitter account, you know, all this does is literally show skins. It doesn't actually do anything. There's no, like, community engagement or interaction. You know, it's just like Overwatch League, great, summer games details, you know. But then if you jump over to Apex, like, literally the first thing you'll see on Apex here is, look at this, community created returns in Emergence. So you can actually, you can get this through watching these streamers. And there's just, like, okay, Monster Energy, whatever. You know, they're obviously going to advertise this stuff. Here, look at this, right? There's a little video clip here from, somebody who played the game. It's from a Reddit user. You know, it's just like, that is community management. That is actually engaging with the community. This is just not. This is just advertised. It's like, what's going on here? There isn't like that engagement, and it's sad. It's like, what the hell are you doing, Blizzard? Anyway, obviously, what they're doing is saying, like, it's pointless focusing on this until Overwatch 2 comes out, because that's where we're going to put all of our effort going forward. So we get this, right? Now, this from BlizzCon Online featured a ton of information. We had, I think this is Rome, right? Yeah, so it's showing us the Rome map being built. There was the talents. This contains a lot of information on the talents. In fact, I can probably skip forward through to this. There was stuff like, it showed us about new maps. It spoke very briefly about new talents, abilities heroes would get. I think the Reinhardt change may have been in this. Double Fire Strike, get another look at Sojourn. We see a little bit of gameplay of Sojourn, which was kind of nice. I think, yeah. So this section here shows you, like, so this was from BlizzCon 2019. That actually was. I remember them showing us that back then. The May turns into a ball and rolls forward. Yeah, so we get a little look here at, like, a little menu system that's being developed. Picking your, like, that. I mean, like, that actually, like, if you go back to this, that kind of looks like, that's your home screen, effectively, this here. So you can see you've got your heroes. So select your heroes that you want to level up. You can see they're all level 4. You know, all this is obviously changed because this is old now. But then, like, you know, you could find your heroes. It's great. Click on your hero. Then you got all this, the talent stuff. So it literally showed us for a second. It's so frustrating. It's like, Blizzard, what the hell? You know, like imagine if they did an entire thing just completely focused and broke down on the talent system, instead of, like, just very quickly jumping through, showing us very quick looks at all of this stuff. You know, I know there's a lot of people went out and screenshotted all of this and tried to work out what everything was. I think they did sort of hover over most things on this so you could see. But the point I'm making is, it's like, why just hit us with all of this? And then, like, man, they've mismanaged horrifically the information they've got and how they could have drip fed this out to the community to keep the community happy with the development of Overwatch 2 and just keep them involved in it, because they're just sort of coming out with a bit of info and then just leave. Well, a lot of info, then just leaving, and then it's just silent. The main live game right now has absolutely nothing going on in it, so you don't really care. You're not really invested in the Overwatch. Oh, and then there's an Overwatch 2 news that drops, and maybe you check it out, but then you go away. It's just really weird to me that, like, I think the issue they've got is when you look at Overwatch as a proposition, as a franchise, it's live right now, but it's just not really being worked on. Overwatch 2 is being worked on. And they want you to stay excited and ready for Overwatch 2 while not really looking after the main game and just do minimal stuff to keep the game ticking over. And it is frustrating. Like, it's super frustrating to me. You know, it really is. So, yeah, we got this, right? All good stuff. Shows us through this and whatever. But then the next thing we get is, in May, we get this. This is the 5v5 presentation, which I was actually, I was asked to go on this. And, I love doing this stuff. And I'll always do this stuff. I think it's so cool. But this was very much like, hey, we're going to show you some stuff that we've been practicing. Like, I'll completely, tell you guys the truth of this right now. They asked me to go on this. There was no, we want you to talk about this, or we're going to do this or that. There was none of that. They literally just said, we want you to come on and see the new updates that we've done to the game. And I was like, great. But it's very clear that the developers have been working on this for a while. And again, in that Blizzard fashion, they put together this very, like, sort of scripted, polished almost production, which is like, hey, we don't really want to go off the rails too much. We've got talking points we want to talk about. And again, a lot of this information is very condensed down when it could have really have been drawn out. I'm not saying drawn out pointlessly, but drawn out, and we could have gone into more depth if they, like, can I say this? Like, is it really that hard for developers just to talk about one of the systems in the game for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's not. It really isn't. These guys are going to be talking about this all the time. I don't know why they can't just sit down and go, you know what? We're going to friggin' do this. Fucking do this. Look at this. This blows my mind. It's a weekly update. It's from Bungie, and it's this week at Bungie, and they tell you about everything that's going on. Like, look at this. I don't even play this game, but I'm literally salivating. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Like, and then, you know, we go back to this, and like, yeah, it's cool, it's fine, but surely it'd be a lot easier to just do a weekly update thing. But guess what? We don't want this idiot on the screen. Man, I look so bad there. You know, I'll give you guys a little bit. It's not an Easter egg, but I'll give you guys. I was absolutely fucked, man. When they asked me to do this, I'm literally in the height of the worst flare I've ever had with my irritable bowel disease, and like, I was out of my mind here. I drunk like 3 cans of Monster Energy just to function here, and I was literally waiting. This is probably a bit too much detail, but I was getting ready to run to the toilet at like a moment's notice, and I thought I had to at one point, and I just sort of managed to just go through it. Jesus, man, there's some of the shit that I've done. It's unreal. Anyway, I managed to do it. For some reason, they focused on me, and I think I must have said something that made sense. They obviously laughed at it. They loved it. Anyway, whatever. So, yeah, whatever. We get to see this gameplay. It's great. It's fine. So this is May. Then what we do get is this. Now, this shows you this hope. Now, remember, look at this Bungie. And remember, one of the guys that used to work on the Overwatch community stuff now works for Bungie and has worked there for a few years now. This thing, great. You know, maybe he's involved in this. I don't know. Maybe Bungie just did it anyway. I don't know. But look at this. It shows you that there is a bit of scope at Blizzard to do this, because they've released this, and this was June the 8th. So this was actually before the next thing I want to show you guys, the Summer Games Fest. But it came out before that, and this is, you know, this is nice, right? But I don't think it's particularly like, it's not very engaging, but I found it interesting, right? But what I would like is, instead of environment states in Overwatch 2 behind the scenes with the engineering team, I'd like to know talent in Overwatch 2 behind the scenes with the design team, you know, or something like that. But I get, you know, there's all these different teams, and they all need like some sort of outlet and some way of talking about what they're working on. Anyway, this just goes through, and it shows you some like different pictures of Numbani with different lighting effects. It shows you Acropolis, which obviously was at night, and then they've got it in day, showing you that, hey, look, we can change the weather effects, and we've got it like with a storm running through it. It's cool. Like, look at this. It's really cool. Look how much information is it. It's really cool, right? How many comments are on this? Probably not a lot. 58 comments, whatever. But like, it's really cool stuff. But why are we not getting this for the other elements of the game? If they came out with a weekly update on what was happening with Overwatch 2, fucking hell. Like, I'm swearing a lot in this video. I'm probably going to get demonetized. But I would be like, that would be awesome for people like me. It would be awesome for the community, because everyone would start talking about what's going on, and they can show it off. And then, you know what? Here's the thing. If you spent once a week coming out with a nice little update, and then you did have these massive 3-hour, 4-hour long streams a couple of times a year updating people on development, at least we'd sort of know what's going to be shown going into it. Then we get to see that thing in action, and it would be great, and we would connect with it more. This is the issue they've got. They're not connecting with the community, and it makes me sad, because in some ways I feel like, now, I'm not a head of the community. I'm not a figurehead of the community, but I feel like what I feel like is my community a lot of the time. I know you guys might like the stuff that I make, but like, you also like Overwatch as well. I like Overwatch. That's the thing. I really like Overwatch. So I feel really like, and again, neglect is a strong word, but I feel neglected in some ways, where when I look at other communities, I feel sad, because I'm like, look at what these guys are getting, and look at what we're getting. It's like, what is going on? Like, surely Blizzard must understand that managing its communities effectively and talking to the wider game community in a coherent and consistent fashion with a good cadence is critical to game success design in 2021. But it seems like they don't. It's just like, right then. So this is good, and I liked it. But if we just go over here and we just look at the actual news update page on the Overwatch website, yeah, crossplay live. Okay, great. Which I guess we should say, you know, is a fairly decent update. We shouldn't just write that under the table. We've got environment states in Overwatch 2, Overwatch double XP, Batiste skin, first look at player versus player, 5 years Overwatch anniversary, that was, new leadership for Overwatch, skin, you know, none of this is any good. Look here, this is nice. inside Overwatch balance design in the experimental card, 29th of March. But like the next time we get anything is the 8th of June. It just seems ridiculous to me that they're not able to actually. Like, why can't you do this? Why can't you do this? I'm just going to keep going back to this because this is frigging great. Like, I didn't even know this existed until a couple of days ago, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what is going on? Anyway, right, where was I? So, yeah, Summer Games Fest. So this is the next bit of news we get. And this, we were told quite a lot by Blizzard. Don't expect anything massive here. Because all this is I'm not even sure why Blizzard turned up to this. It probably was a contractual obligation that they had. But basically, they turned up. Aaron Keller, it's his first outing as the game director. And they just basically say, like, hey, here's a couple of skins for the show Torb. Was it the already showed Torb? No, they already showed Torb, right? I don't even know which skins they showed off. Widow? Did they show Widow already? Farah? No, they showed Farah. I know they showed Farah. Maybe it was Widow. But basically, this was for crossplay, effectively. But it was almost like I reckon what's happened here is they bought the slot in this show to come and do a bit of advertising, and they have nothing to show, really. So they're like, oh, shit, what are we working on? Well, yeah, a bit of crossplay, and we'll just show a couple of designs off. I mean, I've been pretty vocal about the way they've handled the designs of the new heroes, or the designs of the updated heroes for Overwatch 2, in that, like, I don't know why they're keeping them secret. Like, that would be something you could drop out every couple of months, surely, and go, look at this, look at this, look at this. You know, I don't know. It just seems to me that they are so... Batiste was one. Oh, is it Batiste and Sombra, right? Yeah, it's come back to me now. I think it's Batiste and Sombra. It's just, I don't know, it just seems like there's massive gulfs in the way that they've handled like, talking about the game at the moment. Now, of course, the good news is things may change. A lot has changed at Blizzard, and a lot still needs to change at Blizzard. And again, we've got new game director, we've maybe got new ways of approaching things, new people getting hired to Blizzard. You know, all of this stuff is going to make a change and have an impact. But I just, I don't know. Like, I feel like this video, I needed to make it because it's quite cathartic to me, really. It's like, I want to moan about the way that we haven't really been told much about the game. Although, if you're Blizzard, you could sit there and go, well, actually, we've gave you, like, 6 hours of streams. We've gave you loads of stuff to talk about. Why can't you keep talking about that? The problem is, a lot of it is too superficial. And I don't know why they can't come in with more detailed explanations as to what the hell they're working on. Or, like, you know, we know from the Activision earnings thing that was released that Overwatch 2 has met a major internal milestone. But what the hell is that? Like, why is that got to be kept internal? Why can't they talk about that? You know, I've got to be honest, guys, right? This isn't, we're not living in the age of, oh my God, are Blizzard working on a sequel to Overwatch 2? We fucking know they are. We know you're working on it. Show it us, you know what I mean? Give us info, give us updates, show us bits and pieces. Oh my God. All right, guys. My mad rant is over. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. And as ever, thank you for watching all my stuff. You've been the best. And maybe we'll get some news in Overwatch 2 at some point. Maybe. All right, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Toodaloo.